How does one create fundamentally stronger ad creatives? There are 3 ways for you to work on your ad creatives. There's ideation, iteration, and imitation. And unfortunately, most of this industry lies in the third part, imitation. They find ads online that they like, they recreate that same style with their brand, which is leaving them in a spot where if something becomes a winning ad, they're left wondering what fundamentally made this ad a winner. Imagine this, you have exact variables for every single part that makes up the messaging in your ad, allowing you to dissect an ad, whether it's a winner or not, and understand why or why not it performed. In today's video, I want to cover some of the techniques that you must be using to make fundamentally stronger ad creatives that are aligned with your persona. If you don't know who I am, my name is Justin and I'm the founder at Wizo Media, an e-commerce marketing agency specializing in elevating thriving brands by simplifying e-commerce growth. So let's start this video with the problem, which is how most agencies or marketers or e-commerce brand owners are spending their time in creating new ads. The process looks like one of the following. They'll look into their ad account. If it already has data, they'll look at what has worked, what has not worked. Then they'll look at the competition's ad library. They'll be like, oh, that's a nice ad. Let me save that to my Foreplay account. Or they'll go on Foreplay and then start browsing some of the other ads that are available out there, some of the big brands, some of the big names in the industry, and start saving some inspiration. They'll send that to the design team. The design team will create something similar with branded message around the brand, and they'll publish it as a new ad. Or even worse, they won't do any of that. They'll just do a photo shoot or a video shoot. They'll throw a text on it, whatever they think is gonna work mentally, make it an ad and have it go live. I'm telling you, this is 98% of the people watching this video right now. Whether or not you want to admit it to yourself, this is, if you simplify your ad process, that truly is what it is. You're not having any actual structure as to how you create a creative. Then you're gonna sit here and tell me I have a recipe, right? That's also, I would say, the second part of the problem. People have frameworks. People have frameworks to how to build a creative, but that framework is again empty. So what they have is, I'm gonna have a hook, then I'm gonna have my problem, then I'm gonna have my solution, then I'm gonna have call to action. Oh, and right before that, let me add some social proof. And that's the backbone of my ad. This is why it worked, because I had a strong hook. It's not the case. And I'll tell you why in this video. But first things first is you got to understand that you have either a tactic or technique, which truly this is what a recipe is. In itself, with no context to it, a recipe or a template is a tactic. It's the same thing as if I handed you a hammer and I told you just hammer these nails into that backboard right there. You just do it. You're like, I don't understand why I'm doing it. And you're like, oh, hey, I think I did a great job. But then you go behind the wall, you see all the nails, like none of the nails are in a stud. And then if you just like small little push on the wall, the entire wall is going to collapse. Like it just doesn't work because you don't see what's behind it. You don't see if you're actually nailing into a stud or not. You might know how to use a hammer, which in this case is a recipe, but you don't know if you're actually nailing a stud or if you're just nailing in just the middle of the drywall. So how does one nail a stud and create a strong wall? In this case, a strong ad creative. That starts with your customer persona. You got to look into your audience first. You got to understand who are you trying to sell to, and also what type of customer do you want to sell to? Do you want to sell to your current customer or to your potential customer? Because that's also very different. By current customers, I don't mean returning customers. I mean the type of customers you're already attracting. Let me give you a very small example of that, a very quick example. We have a few underwear brands at the agency. An underwear brand can sell to different style of personas. If you look at ads, as an example of Calvin Klein, you'll see ads where they have a model that looks ripped. You know, I'm talking about men ads. They'll have an ad where, again, the model looks amazing, they look in shape. If you look at woman ads from Calvin Klein, you'll have a pretty sexy, good-looking woman in there. What does the average customer look like that buys Calvin Klein? Is it these guys? Is it the ripped people, or is it the average person that wants to look ripped? Chances are it's probably the second one, right? You sell a desired state within the ad so that the average person aspires fundamentally in the deep subconscious of their mind to look like that. And now there's a very big kind of movement of people or brands in the last few years who are inclusive brands, right? We're selling to everyone, or we have 3, 4, 5XL and we want to sell to the average person. We're gonna show models that are a little bit more oversized or plus size. And I'm gonna probably get, canceled or whatever for saying this, but I've tested both style of ads. I've tested selling to the average person, which again, we use an average model on there, somebody who's not crazy good looking, but also not necessarily bad looking, just average, or having somebody who's hot or who's ripped or who looks like a desired state on there. 99% of the time, the desired state will perform better. And that's simply a question to ask yourself. It depends on what type of brand you want to build. If you want to build a brand that is inclusive and your goal is to just purely be inclusive, by all means, do that. If your goal is to make money and to convert and to grow your brand, don't do that. Focus on the desired persona. Now, if we look into persona itself, we can break that down in a couple of different variables, right? There's the desire / pain point of that persona, which I'm going to dissect. This is probably the most important part. Got the second part with it, which is the awareness. How aware is that persona? And then there's your product, which your product has a certain sophistication stage within the market. So let's start with the persona, which is kind of part one. Looking into that persona, I said earlier there was desires and pain points. Usually they're a spectrum. Think of desire and pain point not as a binary choice, but as a spectrum. You have on the one hand desire, on the other one pain point. Somebody lies somewhere in there. The best example I could give you is, I'm just gonna do it with emotions. You love something, you hate something. Hate is the pain point. Loving is the ultimate desire of it. Well, you could also like something. You could appreciate something. You could enjoy something. You could dislike something. You could very much dislike something. You could build, hatred, or I'm just thinking there might be something else, past that, but I think you get the gist of it. There's a spectrum between those two. And it depends how far on the spectrum you want to go. And this is just like an average fact of again, just going through different brands and seeing what usually works best. If you can go on as close as possible to the end of the spectrum on the pain point side, the more painful the pain points, usually the more the ad will resonate or the more the ad will convert. That's if there's a big pain points. But if you go too much past that pain point, you might cause somebody so much pain. They're living in denial at this point. They won't convert, not because what you're saying is untrue, just because they won't even admit it to themselves. So you kind of have to stick in a place where what can somebody tell, what they can't tell, or what they won't tell people. And this is your spectrum, right? What can they tell is what they're open to telling all their friends, their family, their co-workers. What can they tell is what they'll usually won't tell these people, what they'll hide from these people, because it's something that's hard for them, right? They can't tell it because they know it already, but they just can't really share that with others. And what won't they tell is they can't even admit that to themselves at this point. Like it's something that they hide so deeply from themselves that if you try and tap into that, usually it's going to be very hard for you to convert. You have to stick somewhere in that spectrum. So the first things first is choosing a desire, is knowing what am I going to target in that ad overall? What's the overall messaging? How can I align this messaging in this ad? Whether I put 3 words in a static ad or whether I make a full video on it, how is that messaging going to be aligned with a desire or pain point? That's my first thing I got to figure out as the backbone of my ad. The second thing is how aware is the person I'm talking to of the current market / product / competition, right? So are they completely unaware, which essentially at this level, they truly don't understand anything that you're going to talk to them. If you don't present them a product, they don't even know that this is a possible problem / solution, because again, they're just completely unaware of it. They're oblivious to all of this. So you got to educate people at that stage. That's usually very rare that you'd be at that stage. But then second one is a lot more common, problem aware. They know they got a problem, right? They know something is wrong with them or something is wrong with their life or with a specific area of their life. So at that point, there's a certain pain point in there, which is great because if you know that, if you know the awareness level, then you can kind of tap into the pain point that you really want. You can really emphasize the pain point at that level. Then there's solution aware, which they know they have a problem. They also know some solutions to fixing that problem. They might know competitors. They might also know solutions in different industries. I'm gonna give a very simple example of dating, right? People might know that they have a problem meeting new people, okay? So they're problem aware, like they know that they're kind of socially awkward. Well, solution aware, they also know about Tinder, Bumble, they also know about like in-person meetup groups, but they don't know about your specific app at this point, or like I'm saying an app just for the sake of this example, but they don't know that your app that fixes something different exists. Now, second stage is product aware, is at this point, they also know of your app, right? They already know. It's like, let's say you're Tinder, right? Most people will know what Tinder is. So, all right, they know they can't really meet new people. They know that there's a few dating apps, a solution out there. They also know who you are as Tinder. And in most aware, it's like, not only do they know who you are as Tinder, but maybe they've already even used your app, or they've used like a lot of different apps in your own sphere. They've also heard of you. They've seen some of your ads. Like at this point, they really know who you are. Like, it's not a problem of knowing about you or your product or what you offer. It's like they're already familiar with that. So it's like we're talking about discounts here or offers or guarantees or getting people through the door. So you got to figure out, where's your prospect within that? Who are you talking to? And you might speak to different people. That is, again, market desires and pain points and awareness levels are both variables. Feel free to explore with that. You can try one desire or pain point and benchmark that with all the different variables in the levels of awareness. Try it. You can try and speak to the same desire / pain point and speak to somebody who's product aware, also speak to somebody who's problem aware. And again, those become variables to test within your ad. So forget about hook rate, forget about through play, forget about conversion rate or even let alone ROAS. At this point, you're testing what is the market responding to? What desire pain points do they really feel? What level of awareness or how aware is my ideal customer? Which you can only figure out by testing within these different levels. Obviously, there is a more logical one, doesn't mean it's going to be the right one. And now if we move over to the product side of things, now there's more to sophistication, which is kind of the market overall in regards to your product. So that could be your first to market. You're selling something that the market has never ever seen. It's something completely new, right? Then on the completely flip side is market that is being exhausted. So at this point, your market has seen thousands of solutions in what you have to offer. Let's just take mobile phones as an example. If you're coming up with a new phone, you're not first to market. There are thousands of phone companies out there, thousands of phones that people are already used to. You're in a pretty exhausted market. Now there's second to market, which is prospects have seen similar products as yours already. There are a few known alternatives on the market, but you're coming up with something new here. You're like second to market. It's like, look, this is not an entirely new idea or device, but new enough for you to be second to market. So it's pretty simple. Then you have like third stage of sophistication, which is more, there's many claims that were already made about that. Not only people are familiar with that product, they're also familiar with the different claims that different competitors have made with that product. So usually the prospect will have tried some of these solutions already. They know that some of these companies are saying they have waterproof phones or they have a durable screen. So they know all of these things. And then the second stage is about mechanisms. It's now kind of going more in depth about the way that you uniquely, kind of the twist that you're adding to it, right? The twist that you're adding on top of everything. Let's take marketing agencies for a second. It's like people know mostly that marketing agencies exist, right? So you're definitely not first to market. There's thousands of marketing agencies out there. You're not also second to market. Because again, there's thousands of agencies out there and most of your potential clients, if you're an agency, have already worked with an agency. They've also heard many claims, right? People have given them guarantees, the different ways they can scale their business. Now we're mostly in a mechanism phase, which is about how you deliver the service. It's not exactly what you can guarantee me or what results you can get me. Now it's like, okay, what's your twist, right? I know that your competitor is also gonna have a money back guarantee, but how do you deliver your service? What makes you different? That is the second to last stage of market sophistication. So that said, and again, the last one I said it earlier, it's market exhausted. That's mostly around kind of the business / product that you're in. That won't really change. This is not really a variable. This is usually fairly fixed. It will change just at a much larger scale. It'll take months probably, or even years sometimes for a specific brand or product to move through these stages. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is the backbone of your ad. This is how you can explain to a team member, to yourself, to your finance team, to your CMO, to a partner, a potential client, how is your ad working or why it's not working. Because truly, if something is not working and you're like, well, that's because of my CTR, right? CTR is bad. But what does that mean, CTR is bad? All you know from CTR being bad is that your ad is not enticing enough. You don't know why it's not enticing. You just know it doesn't work, right? It's like all you know is a binary thing, whether it works, whether it doesn't work. So now you know it doesn't work. Okay, well, I'm gonna look at my hook rates. Okay, my hook rate is low. Yet again, you just know now your hook is bad. You don't know why it's bad. And you're like, well, maybe the entire concept is bad, so I'm just gonna throw that away and do a new recipe, like a new framework for my video. Instead of doing hook, problem, and social proof, I'm gonna do hook solution. Sure. Now you're gonna try a new recipe, but you don't even understand why you're picking that recipe. So last lesson I have for you in this video is every recipe or framework that you will use, recipes are great. Templates are also good. We use tons of those at the agency. Tons of frameworks and ways for us to structure ads that we're gonna reuse across clients. But we're using those intently. Every recipe fits with a different market awareness level or desire. There are specific recipes that will fit better with these desires or market awareness level. Again, let me give you, let's say, a format where you have a static ad with the product in the middle with like a bunch of benefits listed of that product. If we're talking about market awareness level or even stages of sophistication here, you're like, let's just say you're first to market and you have a completely unaware audience. They don't care. Like, first of all, having a product in big bold in the middle won't tell them anything. They don't even know about your product. And second of all, if you're listing benefits of that product, well, yet again, they don't know your product. So it doesn't make sense for you to do that. And it's the same thing with videos. The way that you structure a hook, or again, where do you add the social proof? You got to do so meticulously. You have to do so with the purpose of why you're doing it. And if your why becomes the awareness, the desire / pain point, and market sophistication, that's how you start building an ad first. And then you'll pick your recipe or template. And then you'll look at your click-through rates or your hook rate and know why an ad is not working. My hook is not working. What did I have in my hook? I had a pain point, but the entire rest of my video is working. Why? Because I had this awareness level. All right, awareness level seems to be fine at this point. I just think I didn't tap into the right desire. Let me just pick another desire. So hopefully I can see some of you guys implementing that. If you're trying some of these techniques for yourself, let me know in the comments down below what are going to be the results that you have. Again, super curious to always hear the feedback from you guys. Last but not least, 2 links in the description down below for you. One of these links is going to be for you to join our free PCAD community, which completely free e-commerce paid advertising mini course. We're talking about economics. We're talking about the media buying, the creative side of things. So check this out in the description down below. And last but not least, if you're looking for an agency to take care of your paid advertising needs and your media production, check the link down below once again and book in a call with our team. We'll be more than happy to speak to you and introduce you to our processes. So with that said, check other videos on the channel for some more useful e-commerce marketing tips. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.